The two leading economic superpowers in the world are stuck in an endless war, a war without bombs or bullets, yet one that shakes the entire global economy. This is the trade war between the United States and China. It all began in 2018 when President Donald Trump announced tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. He accused China of stealing technology, manipulating currency, and creating a trade imbalance. But China did not easily back down. They immediately retaliated, sparking an unprecedented confrontation between the two largest economies on the planet. This war has impacted millions of businesses, disrupted global supply chains, and even pushed the world to the brink of economic recession. But what is even more frightening is that it's not over yet. This trade war is not just a temporary political decision. It has been simmering for decades. Since China joined the World Trade Organization WTO in 2001, its economy has grown at a remarkable pace. American companies gradually realized that they were facing unfair competition. Chinese goods flooded the U.S. market at unexpectedly low prices, causing millions of American workers to lose their jobs. Meanwhile, Chinese companies were heavily supported by the government, helping them grow rapidly and surpass many Western competitors. And what angered the U.S. the most was the accusation that China was stealing technology from American companies. From Apple, Intel to Boeing, numerous major U.S. corporations have accused China of using economic espionage to copy advanced technologies. This was the final straw that led President Trump to take action. When the U.S. decided to impose tariffs on Chinese goods, Beijing immediately retaliated. China also placed tariffs on a range of American products, from cars and airplanes to agricultural goods. And the ones hit hardest were American farmers. They lost the Chinese market, the largest customer for U.S. soybeans and beef. American tech companies were also not spared. Apple, Tesla, and numerous manufacturers that relied on Chinese components began to feel the pressure. The prices of components skyrocketed, production lines were disrupted, causing production costs to rise to unprecedented levels. But the hardest blow came when the U.S. targeted Huawei, China's leading technology corporation. But this is not just a battle over tariffs. The U.S. wants to prevent China from advancing its technology. Huawei, the Chinese telecommunications giant, was banned from the U.S. Chinese tech corporations like TikTok, Tencent were also targeted. But the most painful blow came when the U.S. banned the export of semiconductor chips to China. These chips are the heart of all electronic devices, from smartphones to electric cars. Without them, China would fall behind in the technology race. In response, China is pouring billions of dollars into researching domestic AI chips. So who will win this war? The U.S.-China trade war has been ongoing for years, causing deep disruptions across various fronts. Not only limited to tit-for-tat tariffs, this confrontation has impacted strategic sectors such as technology, finance, and manufacturing. Global businesses have found themselves caught in the middle of this war, struggling to adapt to an increasingly volatile trade environment. Impact on the global supply chain. One of the most significant consequences of this war is the disruption of the global supply chain. China, often referred to as the factory of the world, plays a massive role in producing goods ranging from consumer electronics to high-tech components. As the U.S. imposed tariffs, many multinational companies that relied on Chinese supplies had to look for alternatives. This led to the relocation of factories to other countries such as Vietnam, India, and Mexico. However, this relocation is not only costly, but has also resulted in supply shortages, driving up product prices. The shift in global economic strategy. This trade war has also forced other countries to adjust their trade and investment strategies. European, Southeast Asian, and developing nations have had to find ways to balance relationships with both the U.S. and China, ensuring they don't get caught in the crossfire. International organizations like the WTO are struggling to handle disputes between the two superpowers, as traditional rules of international trade are losing their effectiveness in this new context. The technology sector, the heart of the conflict. However, the most notable battleground is in the tech sector. It's not just Huawei, but other major Chinese tech firms like ZTE, Xiaomi, and even TikTok have also come under pressure from the U.S. Specifically, the chip war has shaken the entire tech industry. The U.S. has imposed bans on exporting sensitive technology and advanced chips to China, aiming to halt the development of China's high-tech industries. Without chips, Chinese companies will face significant challenges in maintaining the production of electronic goods and advancing artificial intelligence. But China isn't standing still. With strong government support, Domestic tech companies are heavily investing in research and development to produce advanced chips of their own. The Chinese government has poured billions of dollars into local chip development projects, hoping to reduce dependence on foreign supplies and build a self-sufficient tech ecosystem. Allies and foreign relations. This isn't just a bilateral confrontation. The trade war has also affected the relationships the US and China have with other allies and trading partners. The US has been attempting to rally its allies, especially Europe and Japan, to jointly pressure China on issues like intellectual property protection and reducing trade imbalances. However, not all nations want to choose sides. Some countries have opted to remain neutral, maintaining economic ties with both parties to safeguard their economic interests. For instance, the European Union faces a tough choice. While there are many concerns about China's trade policies and human rights record, the EU needs to maintain economic relations with Beijing, as China is one of the largest markets for many European industries. At the same time, the EU seeks to continue close cooperation with the US on many fronts, particularly in security and defense. Impact on consumers. The US-China trade war has also had a significant impact on global consumers. In the US, the prices of many imported products from China, such as smartphones, computers, and consumer goods, have risen due to tariffs. American consumers are paying more for the products they need, while small businesses are also struggling to balance costs. In China, consumers have also felt the impact as imported tech products from the US become harder to access, and major companies like Apple face business barriers. Coupled with a slowing economy due to reduced trade with the US, this has negative repercussions on employment and income for millions of people. The future of the trade war. Currently, both the US and China remain firm in their stances and continue to maintain retaliatory measures. But the question remains, how long will this trade war last? Can both sides find a way to negotiate, or will the conflict continue to escalate, leading to unforeseeable consequences for the global economy? The price both sides pay. While this trade war may bring some short-term benefits to both parties, the long-term costs are significant. Experts suggest that over time, both the US and China will face major challenges in recovering their economies after prolonged tensions. The loss of trust between the two largest economies could weaken the global trade system and cause major disruptions in the decades to come. The US-China trade war shows no signs of ending, and both sides continue to increase pressure on each other. But what's even more important is that this trade war doesn't just affect these two nations. It impacts the entire global economy. The big question now is, can the US maintain its position as the world's economic superpower, or will China rise to dominate the global stage? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more in-depth videos on the world economy.